Molweni, sanbonani, welkom aan almal van julle. Ons is baie bly dat jy die tyd gevat het om aan ons te luister. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And it's such an important occasion for us as a faculty to speak to you in a way that tries to show you the kind of faculty that we are and the kind of things that we offer. But perhaps the most important thing is the contribution that you can make to our becoming a better place. What you're about to do as school-leaving people or people with another degree who are choosing to come to UCT's Faculty of Health Sciences is that you're starting out on a journey. And so much of life is about journeys, that we start in one place and we end up in another. If you look at this presentation, you'll see that in this picture that we show you in a minute, has a road and a series of buildings that are connected to the faculty. My own journey into the faculty started only last year. I came here on the 16th of March, right at the beginning of the pandemic. But all of us embark on these roads that are different and take us to new places of great experiences. When I arrived at UCT in the Faculty of Health Sciences, we had to deal with the pandemic, and that became the nature of all health science kinds of spaces in the country. But also what I found at UCT's Faculty of Health Sciences is that I came into a community. I came into a space very much where people were relating to each other already. And there are three key things that I think you'll find when you arrive here, is that this is a community of service, and it serves a range of people across different kinds of communities. It's a place of innovation. In this faculty, right at the beginning of the pandemic, for instance, our Department of Biomedical Engineering was able to print masks and visors for people to use during the system that we were in. But also, it's a place of relation, and we are building relationships, and later in this presentation, Sinalo Nyakambi will speak to you, but we'll speak to you about how we relate with students, how staff interrelate with each other. The picture that you're seeing now is about the fact that some of our journeys involve role modeling. And part of the role modeling is that if you just look at the pictures we have on the screen now, and we've taken past heroes of the faculty. So Alan McCormack, for instance, is a person who studied physics at UCT, came into medical physics across the road from the faculty here. And what his contribution is developing the physical science, the physics of the CAT scan that now all of us are taking for granted. So the work that he did in generating the understanding of how a CAT scan could operate really was done here at UCT when he was a much younger researcher. He went on to win a Nobel Prize. Professor Jeffrey Dumo-Bakwa, he's known in the faculty for his seminal work on how we understand primary health care, and his contribution to the fact that we're not a faculty that's only about the really clever things we do like heart transplants and genetic modifications. We're also about encountering health at the interface where communities encounter health and their requirements. So Frances Ames, really, she was a neurologist by training and head of our neurology department, but fundamentally, the reason that we regard her as a role model in the faculty is when doctors were behaving badly in relation to prisoners under apartheid, Frances Ames was one of those doctors who stood up and said, I will not be a professional like that. And that's the thing that we recognize in her. And then the most recent one of those to join the panel of our ancestors, and we're deeply respectful of Bongani Mayosi and his contribution here, but really the role modeling that Bongani Mayosi offered us is this confluence of transforming society while holding on to the excellence banners. So what we say very strongly as a faculty is that excellence is not separate from our commitment to transformation. Excellence can't be separated from the fact that we want different kinds of students in our community, and we will build them up into professionals that will be better than we are. So even though we look at these role models in a particular way, look at these kinds of guys. Muzamo here on the left-hand side is a registrar in public health who actually created the entire database system with colleagues to deal with the pandemic. And so the Western Cape, in terms of the country, is way ahead of many provinces in terms of understanding what the data of COVID can tell us. On the right-hand side is Sudesh Sivarasu, an Indian, and when I say Indian, I mean came from India, scientist who is working in our biomedical engineering department to create new ways of responding to the problems of African health. And there are many problems. And for me, coming to spend my Saturday speaking to you is really to say, can you identify yourself in this faculty? Can you be part of a journey together with this leadership team that takes us to a different place in the future? You cannot be a health professional like I am. My generation is still struggling with huge problems. Your generation is the one that will help us to see solutions we still haven't dreamt of. In the picture here, you can see the team that we are as the deanery. One of our ongoing entertainments is when do you wear masks in a picture, when don't you wear masks? And this particular picture, we were too close to each other not to wear masks. But you'll see even in looking in the picture that even our masks are different. That's because each of us brings a particular flavor to the leadership of the faculty, in the same way as our student leadership does. And I'm really grateful that even though there are many fights to be had with students, and they will raise many questions about how we conduct ourselves, I really am deeply grateful for the relationship we have with the student leadership in the faculty. And you could be one of them. So again, what we're talking about here is that you come into a place, you have to bring your own story to this place. Our legacy is different and long. I don't want to bore you with the fact that we're 100 years old and we're the best in this and we're the best in that. Well, I don't think it matters to you. What I hope matters to you is that you come into a place where we are committed to building a new South Africa, a new healthy South Africa, and it needs new thinking. So thank you very much. And I'm going to pass on now to one of the leaders in our faculty, Dr. Karen Begg, who's the Deputy Dean for Undergraduate Education in the faculty, and she is responsible for that space that you'll be entering as undergraduates. So I really look forward to your questions and engaging with you further through the day.
Thank you so much. A very warm welcome to all of you listening to us this afternoon and watching us. And we would have loved to have been in person and to have engaged with you one-on-one. But please do remember to access the question and answer panel and add your questions or your queries or your comments there. And we're hopefully going to be answering each of those during the course of the remainder of the afternoon. So my job now is just to remind you a little bit about all of the programs that we have on offer at the faculty. And later on, each of the programs is going to be doing a presentation that will give you a lot more detail as to each individual program. Right now, I want to remind you that our aim at the Faculty of Health Sciences at UCT is to produce a generalist healthcare professional who is capable of providing healthcare in a decentralized healthcare system. So we are producing our graduates for our needs in South Africa and in the subcontinent. We want you to be imbued with a spirit of inquiry so that you're constantly learning throughout the rest of your life. And we want you to be committed to the principles of equality and social justice and to be embodied in the primary healthcare approach, as we have seen Prof. Duma Bakwa illustrating. So our programs, we have 5 bachelor's programs, undergraduate programs. We also run a BSc in medical science, but that generally is run as an intercalated space. So we have a bachelor in speech language pathology, previously known as speech pathology. We now look at it as speech language pathology, audiology, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, and medicine, which is the degree itself is a Bachelor of Medicine and a Bachelor of Surgery. We also have a higher certificate in disability practice for school leavers, and then we run an advanced diploma in cosmetic formulation science. So each of those programs, other than the MBCHB, is a 4-year professional qualification. What does it mean to be a professional qualification versus another degreed qualification? Well, it means that when you qualify, you do need to undergo what is a requirement under the Health Professions Council of South Africa. So that is a requirement to be able to practice as a professional in South Africa. And therefore, you also are required to undertake community service a year in the case of physio, OT, audiology, and speech and language pathology. For MBCHB, it's a 6-year professional program. You then undertake a 2-year internship and then a year's community service, and then you will be registered with the Health Professions Council for independent practice. So our courses, why choose us? Well, we have some really innovative, exciting courses. And one of them is an interprofessional program that starts in the first year, and where all of our programs learn together about how to become a professional. So how to become a health professional, and that has been one of the really exciting spaces that we've been able to engage in. I just want to alert you that we are incredibly responsive and responsible around the COVID pandemic, and so all pictures that have crowds without masks on were taken before the COVID pandemic. So just to reassure you on that front. Our graduates, when we're focusing on those graduates, we want to remind you that it's not just about the knowledge and it's not just about the skills. We actually want our graduates to be well-rounded, and we focus on what we call graduate attributes, which focuses on things like being a professional, being a communicator and a collaborator, being a leader, being a health advocate, as well as continuously learning as being a scholar. Our clinical training sites are all over Cape Town, and so you learn in a range of different spaces across the communities of Cape Town, as well as in the rural areas. So we have rural spaces in George, in Knysna, in Muscle Bay, in Oudtshoorn, and in Vredenburg. It's an exciting opportunity to be able to be engaged in the healthcare system. We have some really innovative teaching and learning. And once again, the unmasked spaces were pre-COVID, but you'll see our lady in pink, our queen, Dr. Siobhan Gordon, who has multiple personalities that she managed to raise up during COVID, during online training. And these are the kinds of things that we're able to do during the space, both of COVID as well as beyond. And so you can see that we still continue with clinical training, albeit masked now and with physical distancing, but indeed we do also combine that with online training as well. And so we also have a clinical skills laboratory, so you can see that we have a range of ways of being able to practice your clinical skills on mannequins. And we also have some amazing state-of-the-art facilities. Very importantly for us, and in all of these professions in the health sciences, is that we maintain the human touch and the human connection. And I think that's one of the really important parts under the pandemic, is that we've been able to recognize that whilst we may be physically distanced, that in fact connection is just so critical. And so even when we're masked up, that we are still connected. You have so many opportunities at UCT Faculty of Health Sciences. So when you join with your program, there are opportunities to join with and to undertake dual degrees at the same time. If that is your fancy, to do a BSc, qualify with a BSc as well as, for instance, an MBCHB, a master's program. You can progress across all of the programs into fields in research, in teaching, and of course you can specialize in your clinical practice. And so we have this wonderful graduate, Matthew Amoni, who is now doing his PhD, but has already got his BSc, MBCHB, and his master's. But you do not need to be intimidated by somebody like Matthew. There are spaces for all of us in the world. I'm now going to hand over to another wonderful leader in our space, Sinalo Nyakambi, who is the current chairperson of the HSSC, the Health Sciences Students' Council, and we are just delighted that she's able to take us through more of the things that are available to you at the Health Sciences faculty. Thank you, Sinalo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Beg. As Dr. Beg has already said, Ikamalam Sinalo Nyakambi. Welcome to each and every one of you today. And I'm just going to take you through my experiences as a student and the student perspective of being a UCT Faculty of Health Sciences student. So firstly, as a health sciences student specifically, it's of paramount importance that as much as you do develop yourself as a health professional, you need to also develop yourself socially and holistically, because these are the factors that are going to make you much more qualified or much more able to carry out your job. A great part of being a student or being in university is social interaction. And this really influences how, you transition from just being an adolescent who was a high school student and then becoming someone who is now an adult in the student space and then an adult in the workplace. And university is really that place where you can, hone those skills to do that. And the Faculty of Health Sciences, it boasts a wide range of opportunities for you to really get that social interaction and to get those opportunities. We have faculty-specific societies, and these offer many extracurricular activities. And one of the most popular ones that we do have among the students is Shoko. And Shoko is a great example of how, as a student, you can go through community outreach, social responsiveness, working with many different people in different disciplines, and you can do all of this in a fun, challenging, and safe environment. Our UCT societies, they offer you the opportunity to interact not just with each other, but you can also interact with the greater Cape Town environment. As Dr. Beg had showed you, we have many different sites, and through the societies, we go to these different sites, and students can get exposure from as early as first year to being in the clinical setting and to being, what you're actually going to do when you are working. And there are also many different leadership opportunities in the societies themselves. So you can develop yourself not just as, a member of the society or a student, but as a leader. And there are also opportunities in governance in our faculty. And these include being, in the Health Sciences Students' Council, such as I am. You can also join student parliament, and there are many more. Our faculty also offers several employment opportunities for those of you who are interested in the bag, such as myself. You can be a demonstrator, you can be a student tutor, and you can really help out in the computer labs, you can help out. There are many different places where you can make some extra pocket money on the side. There's also endless support that's available to the students in our faculty. In addition to people who are running the courses and the lecturers, we have our student development and support services. And these are people who are willing to go above and beyond to help you with anything that you may need that is outside of your academics or that may be affecting your academics. And UCT as a whole, it also offers us a wide range of student wellness services, and these help you with health-related issues, wellness-related issues, so that you can be well and fit to do your degree to the best of your ability. And in that same vein of support, we also have a mentorship program, and our mentorship program is quite vibrant, and all of our first-year students enter into the mentorship program. So each first-year student is assigned to a mentor. They are in a mentor group. And then these mentors will engage with the students on an ongoing basis about mentorship or about their academic needs, about adjustments to university, and just about becoming and finding yourself and learning how to adapt and how to really take control of your life within this space. The mentorship program has really been quite instrumental in helping the students because it really influences a student's varsity experience overall. And the mentorship program is also important because it guides the students and the Faculty of Health Sciences and gives feedback to the faculty as to what the students need on the ground. Our university has a very strong residence community. And I'm sure a lot of you have already seen on social media, the residence community is quite a vibe. And it's linked together by the iconic Jammy shuttle. If you haven't heard the word Jammy before, now you're hearing it, and it's going to become a very important part of your life once you are a UCT student. So the Jammy is our main form of transport, and it connects the different residences to each other. As an FHS student or a student of the Faculty of Health Sciences, from second year onwards, you are in one of the residences which are assigned mainly to health sciences students. So these residences are Clarinus, Rochester, Ob Square as pictured above, and Muhlenhof, which is part of Forest Hill as pictured above. And in the residences, you also have wide ranges of opportunities to develop yourself as an individual. You can take part in many leadership opportunities, and there are also a lot of job opportunities, and these are tailored around your timetable, your student timetable. So one thing I'm most proud of about being a UCT Faculty of Health Sciences student is that we are taught by world-class teachers in a world-class environment. And it's amazing because when you step into a class, you can be sure that your educator is one of the best, or if not the best person in their field in the country, and sometimes even in the world. These lecturers are often quite willing to assist, and they're quite willing to really engage in ways that make teaching a great learning experience for us. And we've really seen, especially last year during the online learning, lecturers who, they became content creators. They started creating content that we could engage with, and they've been very adaptable, and they've just generally been quite helpful to us as UCT students. So a course that is a favorite in our faculty, especially when you look back prospectively, is the Becoming a Professional and then later Becoming a Health Professional course. And in this course, the reason why we love it so much is because we work together for the whole year in this course. Despite discipline, despite degree, every first year in the faculty really works together in this course. And it gives us an opportunity to get to know each other. You can make friends in different degrees in the faculty. And also you get to learn a lot about what people in other degrees are doing. And, you get to learn about many different skills that you can get, or many different things that can actually help you in your degree that are being done in another degree. To close, I'd like to read a message from one of the current third-year MBCHB students, which I think was it really sums up the UCT student experience. And I'll just read a part of it where the student says, "The lecturers embody all the qualities that any healthcare worker should have, namely empathy, kindness, and dedication. If you had to take away anything from this statement, it's this: UCT looks after their students." I'd like to encourage each and every one of you to apply to the Faculty of Health Sciences at UCT, because you don't leave here just with the skills to be a health professional. You leave here with innovation, you leave here with knowledge, but also you leave here as a whole, well-developed individual and a healthcare superhero. Thank you very much, and I hope to see each and every one of you here next year.
Thank you so very, very much, Sinalo. That was a wonderful summary, and I hope that that Sinalo has encouraged you to be applying. So we have a short video to show you as we get to the end of the presentation. But colleagues, I would like to just have a look at the questions, just to see that that some of your questions, many of them will be answered in the next few sessions. So please do join the physio, the OT, the communication sciences, as well as the MBCHB sessions later. Many of your questions are around specific application processes, and those will be discussed in each of the sessions coming through. And many of your questions relate to things that happen as a postgraduate. So when you enter as a professional, you start off with your base bachelor's degree, and then, for instance, if you were to become an orthopedic surgeon, one of the questions I saw was about that, then you would then follow on with a specialization in orthopedic surgery. And things like your internships and community service is all not done via the university, but done via the Department of Health, and there's a process of application, and you're placed according to choices around the country. So I think that those are some of the key questions that have been emerging. I'd just like to check in with the Dean whether he's seen anything that he'd also like to add before we move on to the video.
So there were a couple of questions that I thought were really interesting, colleagues, and thanks very much for them. There's one particular question that's really raised my interest. Can I do an MBCHB to become a medical scientist? I'm sorry that you've signed yourself as anonymous, because you almost certainly would have gotten a call from me after the session, because you're exactly the kind of student we're looking for, the kind of student who's keen to, and we offer a little bit of a branch out of MBCHB to go and hone your skills as a scientist, and then you return to the degree later on. But you're one of the groups of students that we're quite keen on. There were a couple of other questions. I think one of the things I need to say, there are two things possibly from the questions that are emerging. The one is that they're all very competitive degrees, and there's no ways of predicting what the standard is going to be of who gets in and who doesn't get in a particular year, because there's usually a grading. And that's why I asked that you actually look at the prospectus for what band A means, what band B means, and what band C means. So I really want you to do that. The other one was about the specialties. So what I do encourage people who are coming into medicine is, don't think of the specialty you want to do. Just come and be the best undergraduate student you can be. I'm an anaesthetist by training, but I really expected to do family medicine when I started out. And I happened into the specialty that I've chosen because of my experiences along the way. So don't come with that fixation in mind. But I think let's watch the video to hear from other people from the faculty.
I chose UCT because I wanted to go to the top university in Africa, and I wanted to be assured that my education would be top quality.
So what is special about UCT? I think that's the name.
UCT is so world-renowned for its research.
UCT offers world-class education, which is led by researchers in the field of medicine and other health science courses.
And getting exposure to the doctors and surgeons that teach us in the hospital, I can honestly say that we are exposed to world-class leaders in their field. The research in the department is so incredible. Like, we work with amazing professors and amazing doctors and academics.
Coming from a small town in the province, I received a warm welcome from the lecturers, from the tutors and the mentors at the university.
The most appealing thing to me about studying at UCT was definitely the culture. It really appealed to me because it seemed as though it was a community. So I really wanted to be a part of that community.
We integrate across all disciplines, not only medicine, but occupational therapy, physiotherapy, audiology, speech and language pathology. We're all doing similar courses in the becoming a health professional courses, and it really feeds into what the faculty is trying to put out there, right? Which is an integrated health professional who's non-judgmental, empathic, and knows how to collaborate with other disciplines in a multidisciplinary approach.
What stands out about audiology at UCT is just the amount of access we have to the different facilities available. Like, we're close to Groote Schuur Hospital, and there's just easy access to different clinical sites. There's different hospitals that we can go to, and there's always equipment available so that we can have that hands-on experience or real-life experience with patients and with the equipment that is needed in the clinical setting.
I enjoy the most on the clinical platforms is just interacting with different people, with children. I love children, and it brought me out of my comfort zone. Like, I'm very shy naturally. I'm a very introverted person, so that brought me out of my shell. I'm more confident now, and it's all thanks to like going to extra clinics, volunteering, speaking to patients. The more practice you get, the more confident you become.
So one of the reasons I'm interested in rural health is that I come from a rural province myself, where healthcare delivery is sometimes not the very best. And part of the reason I came to UCT was to gain the skills that I would use and take back to help improve healthcare in provinces like my own.
I also just really was fascinated by the idea of student wellness. I didn't really know that there was a whole division of the institution which caters to the wellness of the students, and I found that so fascinating, especially because I went through so many different things, and those lecturers and those support structures of student wellness, they really were there for me. And it has been quite fascinating to realize that a lot of the time you think that you're alone on this journey, but there's so many resources that are here for you to help you and to just see you through your degree. So that has just been one of the things I've really appreciated about being at UCT. In first year, they offered us mentorship. Each first year has a mentor. And for me, that was very helpful in terms of emotionally and academically. When I was struggling with anything, I had my mentor on WhatsApp. I went into RES, which I think was definitely one of the best decisions I ever made. So it's been an incredible opportunity to meet people from across South Africa and make really good friendships with people.
RES is more of family, but it's a home in itself because it has its own culture.
It's like being basically in a sleepover with all the people that you study with.
The vibe is really one of belonging. One feels part of a family.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like I belong at UCT.
There's a lot of societies to join, and they're fun and educational, which is what you want. Just a good balance between fun and educational.
We have sports clubs like UCT Soccer,
Short education,
The Surgical Society,
UCT Gym.
UCT Tennis,
I signed up for UCT Athletics, boxing,
swimming.
Cardiology Society.
also Latin ballroom dancing. I've heard a lot of people recommend that one.
So whatever it is that you're interested in, UCT has it for you.
I would have tell my younger self, like, just go for it, because ultimately it depends on what you're going to do with this opportunity that lies ahead of you, and I think UCT is one of the best places to develop yourself.
You'll be doing what you love with different people, and you grow in ways that you wouldn't otherwise.
If I knew then what I knew now about coming to UCT, it's a brilliant university, honestly speaking. I did my postgrad at a different university, and I came back to work at UCT. I studied here, and now I'm working here, and I'm permanent, and I'm probably going to be a prof in 30 years' time, and I'm here to stay.
So it's really to make the most of the opportunities that you have on campus, because one day you will find yourself as an intern, as a community service medical officer, where you may be on your own in a health facility and you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. And it's then when we realize how much we were given in our university lives.
You're just expanding your potential as a person. It's not only just about being a student and studying the particular program, but you are able to go beyond that and become the person that you want to be in the future.
From my academic life, where, as I've said, I've had a world-class education with leaders in the fields of medicine, to being on the sports field at UCT, to being able to just enjoy Cape Town for what it is, climbing mountains on the weekends, going to the beach. I really do recommend coming to UCT, and if you aren't going to accept your offer, you will regret it.
I can't imagine myself anywhere else, really.
Thank you very much, applicants, and we really hope that you're able to join us at UCT, and please do continue. We will continue answering some of the questions. Please do go to the website, have a look at the prospectus, and contact us if you have any further queries. We really do wish you well for the rest of your matric year. Dean, would you like to say anything in closing?
I'm always a little bit unsettled when somebody says, Dean, do you have an answer? Because I always think that my name is not Dean, or that they're calling me again. But anyway, I want to say how exciting it has been to engage on this platform. I'm really stimulated by the questions you're asking, and I hope that we're providing answers that can help. I do want to say engage with the prospectus document, and there's usually a very quick response if you have specific questions, but there's some really intriguing questions being asked. I love the question on the connection of computers, research and medicine. It's an area we haven't dabbled in the undergraduate degree, but as we begin to talk about revising that, I'm already, something is tweaking in my head saying, how do we bring the fourth industrial revolution into our training? But we already offer a whole lot of interactions with apps that students can engage with, even in the learning process. But I really like the question, and it's part of the stuff that we can talk about with regard to an intercalated degree. Thank you for joining this session. I think that what I hope we've done is start the questioning process. We may not answer all the questions today, but it begins to say we hear you, and as far as we can, we will answer your questions, but we really, really look forward to having you here. In the difference that you offer from all of the places you must be connecting from, it has been really an incredible time for me. Thank you.
And we'll just ask our HSSC chairperson to wish you well and on your way.
Thank you very much, Dr. Big. I really just want to say to each and every one of you who are here today, all the best with your applications, but I also specifically want to appeal to that student that thinks, I'm interested in UCT, but I'm afraid to apply, or I might not get in, or what if? Please apply and try, knock on this door, and you would be surprised. We really, really, really are looking forward to seeing you guys next year, and we really wish you the best for the rest of your matric year.